capture reminders then, even though I've given no reminders yet because we've all been chatting. So let's talk about our plan. Victoria, good to see you. We have 60 minutes together for slow flow yoga. I'm Jen. Yoga blocks or a light set of dumbbells can be a great offer today. Even just the unique way, the different way that we're going to go from ground to stand today. So I'll do my best to let you know where you can kind of strategically place props. And then we'll take some shoulder movements, either from the knees, or you could potentially be like sitting on your feet. I'm going to actually use my blocks to make like a little chair. You could use a pillow. Any of those positions are going to be welcome, but you might want to use props for that. So as we get to be started, I'm going to have a pillow and my blocks to what will end up being the back of my mat. So where your feet will be when we will be kind of in our usual place. But then as we get started, we'll start to lie on our back as we do. And I'm going to press play on some music. And thank you for joining today. Just a little added nugget as we come to arrive. Today is literally to the day, the 3-year anniversary of my very first class on this platform. I know. So as I've been sharing with everyone, if you were with me on that first Saturday, July 8th, 2023, I'm sorry. I feel like I'm a better instructor now, but thank you for being with me. And for however long you've been joining or taking classes, I'm just so appreciative. All of this is nothing without your presence, and I'm so grateful. So, with that little added piece from me, coming to connect into you. And whether this is your third practice or your 300th practice or anywhere in between, we come to arrive in the same way, logistically, right on our backs. Hi, Lois. For a multitude of reasons, one of which is a bit of that familiarity. So as you're settling in, notice what your brain does with that. Sometimes I feel that realization kind of in my gut of, oh, I'm here. I'm here in this space for this practice. Taking time to scan, to breathe, to shift or to find stillness. And as always, with how we approach this practice, maybe noticing if there's an intention, something that just kind of compelled you to click join today. A physical craving, yearning, maybe something more emotional. Notice, though, the difference between setting a possible intention versus expecting something out of your time on the mat. So you take a few more breaths, you're being open to the journey, being open to respond in the moment to what you know feels best. Take a few more moments here, maybe particularly to check in around your lower body. I'm going to offer more upper body movements to begin. So maybe you take a couple of sways of bent knees. Maybe you take a stretch of the legs if that feels welcome. But the suggestion as I reposition myself is to plant the feet, knees bent, whatever distance feels best. Take your arms out to the sides like a T with your palms to the ceiling and simply land here for a few moments. And being still isn't always very simple. Notice if you can soften your shoulders, even though you're in this position. Maybe having your neck feel a little long, your jaw, your cheeks melting toward the floor. And then right arm will start sweeping, reaching up and over like it's going to stack over your left arm. Recommendation is that you turn your left ear toward the floor, lift your right shoulder blade, and then unwind. Let the right arm come all the way back down before you do the left arm. So it's kind of upper back rotation. Suggestion is that maybe your hips don't really move very much. That doesn't mean you have to be rigid or forceful, but seeing if this can be a little bit more upper back, moving as slow as you like. Taking a few more rounds. We did start with the right arm, so if you want to complete that next reach with your left arm, and we'll pause back with arms wide for a few breaths, no rush to get there. And then reaching your arms up toward the ceiling or your sky, stagger them slightly to cross the right arm over the left and see if you can keep space between the arms as you continue to reach more and more toward the opposite side of the room, kind of finding this active range of motion stretch, and then letting your hands rest gently on your shoulders. See if you can soften. Give into gravity, relax your collarbones. You can certainly shift here again, like shoulder blade to shoulder blade, or maybe turning your head side to side. Whenever you feel satisfied, opening up again with a big breath in. Exhale, arms back to ceiling or sky. Stagger, so left arm is closer to you. So as you cross, it's kind of left arm over right, actively reaching with as much kind of action as you'd like. Hi, Heather. And then letting shoulders land or hands on shoulders land. Take a few breaths again. You might kind of just shift around or let the hug land, remembering that some of the subtlety we create here is really impactful. It sets the stage. Take a breath again to open up. Can we land in kind of goalpost arms, but where your forearms are vertical? So I have the backs of my arms on the mat and I have my fingertips actually toward the ceiling. And I'm going to start swaying my legs side to side, where eventually you start to lift the feet off the floor. I like this position of the arms because it makes me really aware of what's happening in terms of using core strength compared to arm support for how far you might be swaying. And there's not a better thing to be doing here. By no means does that mean you have to do anything in particular other than notice. Whatever range of motion feels interesting to your spine, to the use of your core, to the support of your arms. And when you feel ready, we'll start to take the legs up toward the ceiling or sky. Let your arms rest by your sides. Take a few moments here, maybe flex and point the feet. Maybe you even actually massage your hamstrings a little bit. We're going to do a few movements to keep warming through the knees and legs. More, I'm going to call it like a blast off. So I'm going to rest arms at sides. I'm going to bend both knees and almost kind of tuck the knees closer to the chest and then extend the legs straight, but kind of more at an angle, not straight up toward the ceiling. So that might give a little bit of core work. So as you tuck a little squeeze, and I find when I kick my legs straight, the lower they are toward the ground, the more challenge that is for me to keep my spine straight and not arch. So you determine what angle of that kick gives you that sweet spot for the right energy you're finding. Notice if your hands are gripping the floor, as we just talked about. And then when you feel ready, knees in, just give yourself a little hug and a little rock. We're going to take one more bit of movement here for the legs. They go back up toward the ceiling or sky. Separate the feet slightly, flex the feet, bend the knees like you're going to try to bend and touch knees to the floor kind of wide. Come back up, crisscross, right leg over left. Open again. We'll call this like a version of happy baby, kind of bending through the knees, hips open, come back up, cross left leg over right. And just kind of this back and forth. So we're really getting hips to go open and inward in this little dance of the legs. And we're going to do this quite a bit today. We're actually checking in with our active range of motion by not using the arms. When you feel satisfied, let's take one more really nice hug of the legs, shins or backs of thighs. Maybe you rock a few more rounds side to side. Maybe you eventually grab the backs of your thighs and start to roll along your spine, determining the way that feels best for you to make your way upright to be seated, facing the front of your mat. Hello again, everyone. Thanks so much for hopping on today. Let's sit, but maybe move yourself back a little bit because eventually we'll take legs extended. For now, have feet planted, knees bent, whatever distance kind of away from your feet, however wide, but I'm kind of pulling through my hips a bit to feel like I'm forward on my sit bones. I'm going to face you. And we'll start with hands kind of tented or touching behind your hips. I'm going to do right arm reaching across out kind of toward the outer edge of my left leg, sweep the arm around, land, and then switch. So this kind of movement of your upper body and shoulders, you might find you're actually rounding a little bit. You can tuck your chin, get a little stretch in your lats. If it feels interesting, you might actually wrap the arm kind of more around your head just to change the range of motion. Keep going just with the upper body back and forth, but slide the right leg straight. So as you reach toward the right leg, now maybe there's a slight difference in how you extend out toward that right foot. And then as you continue to keep going, let's slide the left leg straight as well. So now we're doing these movements with both legs straight. So maybe there's more room to kind of hinge your body forward and back, noticing kind of what shifts and what you can explore. And then to balance out, keep moving as you rebend the right leg. Take a few more rounds. Maybe there's a little more twist here or more reach. And then decide as your hands come back behind you, do you prefer both legs straight or both knees bent? Either one is fine. As we lean back a little bit, maybe your fingertips point toward your heels. I'm going to shift my hips a little bit. Find a bit of a heart opener. So kind of a opening of your heart and chest and ribs toward the front of your room. Maybe you bend a little bit into the elbows. You could certainly move the head and neck here. So as you find a little gentle stretch in your upper body, notice if anything got tense in your jaw or your neck. And then invite is to sit tall, come off of the hands, and maybe roll the wrists around. You might even squeeze and make a couple of fists to move through the fingers. And whenever you feel ready, we'll make our way to tabletop pose. So again, as you come around then to tabletop now, the recommendation would be to have blocks, dumbbells, maybe a pillow, currently back by where your feet are. If you don't have anything, that's absolutely okay. Tabletop pose. Spread your fingers wide, feel yourself really connect into the mat with the touch points that are there. And then perhaps starting movements here with cows and cats to create this continued exploration of your spine to warm areas of the body that will create support and space for us. Noticing where breath is useful. I love inhaling to cow. I like how it feels to kind of expand the heart and ribs with an inhale. And that exhale to cat, you can even kind of tuck in with the low belly and the abs to find that space in your back. Move in any other direction that is feeling right to you. And then as we do, we'll kind of take some of our classic warming movements with a bit more focus on shoulders and upper body first. You can stay in tabletop. You can create a journey to head to the belly. Suggestion is that there's a pause in a knee plank, feeling straight in your spine, a little drawback of the back of your head, lift of your chin. You could lower like a push-up, kind of a straight line of the body, or you could almost peel down kind of through a cobra if that would feel lovely to your spine. Maybe if you're on the belly, hands next to your shoulders, can you literally just kind of wiggle your shoulders around without moving much else? Just kind of a couple of little shimmies, noticing again subtlety here. And then you could start to explore cobras. You could even do that combination of shoulders and cobra where we take the hands wide, tent the fingertips, and kind of snake around through your spine. And you can do all of that from tabletop. So sometimes it's a matter of seeing, how do your shoulders feel? I quite often find my lower back prefers to be off of the belly sometimes if things are a little sensitive or grouchy. Let's make our way back to tabletop when you're ready. So a tuck of the elbows, a lift up through your low ribs. We'll pause in tabletop, and then puppy pose where your hands go forward. We find a lift of the tailbone as the ribs kind of soften down toward the mat and almost toward the thighs. Can you find that sweet spot here where there's a bit of action? So a press through the palms and a really big lift of your tailbone, but then consequently, there's something that kind of softens your jaw, your neck, your shoulders. Take a breath in for space, a breath out for softness. We'll come back to tabletop, and this time we'll focus a little bit more on hips. So again, you have the option of heading to the belly or working from tabletop for hip openers. If you're working from the belly, there'll be scorpions. So hands can be close or wide where you bend one knee and kind of roll to the opposite side. Thoughtful rewind to switch, and you can do that same type of movement from tabletop. And I do find there's a little bit of a distinction, especially if I'm on the belly, as to whether or not my shoulder lifts up. If your shoulders and your chest stay level, it tends to be a little bit more focused on just the hips and lower back. If your shoulder is lifting, there's a bit of a twist of the spine. So just kind of notice if your body naturally does one or the other, if you want to be a little bit more kind of noticing. When you're ready, we meet again in tabletop. So if you're coming off the belly, tuck in, take your time, no rush. And then maybe this time we try on a child's pose. Widening the knees, perhaps tops of feet might come closer, seeing how it feels to let your tailbone drop more toward the floor and your feet. This is where you can kind of decide, do you want your arms to be that active press like last time? Maybe your forearms are melting into the ground. Take space to observe and notice even these moments that are intended to be restful. What is coming up for you physically? What might need a breath or two? And then as you're ready, we'll make our way back to tabletop pose. So as mentioned when we were getting set up, we're going to find some movements either from sitting or on the knees. So maybe you try to send your hips back and notice, does it feel okay to literally sit back on the feet? Sometimes this feels better to me if my knees are wider. Maybe you want to sit on toes curled under, or again, you could use like a block or a dumbbell and find something to sit on. You could also be on the knees. That's where I will demo. I'm going to face you. Let's do some side bend movements, just reaching up, alternating side to side. So if you're on the knees, you probably aren't going to touch the floor. If you're sitting, it's very likely you are going to touch the floor. So just notice if you're kind of dumping into that bottom arm. My hope is that everything feels fairly kind of used in both sides of your body. And then when you feel ready, I'll go back to being profile with you. Let's take a reach up and a stretch up, hinging right back to tabletop with the suggestion of widening your knees a little bit. Root down into your left hand. Let's thread the needle. Right arm opens and sweep right arm under left. And let's do that on repeat a couple of times just to get movement again in your upper back, in your spine, and your hips. If you are enjoying this being dynamic, stay. If you want to take a pause in the thread the needle variation, sending right arm through, palm up, and you can kind of soften down here and stay a little bit more lifted. You might feel kind of that more full surrender onto your right upper arm. It's entirely up to you where you go this early in practice with this stretch opportunity. And again, you can stay dynamic. If you are kind of putting weight on your right arm, my hope is it doesn't feel like it's dumping into the elbow. Take a big breath in and a breath out, making sure your left hand is close to your body so you can push through the left hand. Let's open up, stretch up, take a reach again to twist. Right hand comes back down. Knees come close, tabletop pose. Take an inhale to cow, exhale to cat, neutral spine, second pass, sitting back on your feet or coming to the knees. And you can change what you're doing. So maybe it's a different variation this time. Again, I'm going to face you. Let's revisit. I'm going to start left arm. That kind of reach around and wrap like we did when we were sitting. You remember that? So it's a little bit different now because we don't have that position of being rooted through like we did when we were sitting. So notice where that rounding is, especially if you're on the knees, being really thoughtful about what's happening with your spine in terms of direction and breath. And then whenever you feel ready, we'll take a breath up to reach up from wherever you are, crawling or hinging back out to tabletop pose. Widen the knees slightly, thread the needle prep, right arm down, left arm reach up, stretch up, exhale, sweep left arm under right. And again, if it feels really lovely to keep going back and forth here, maybe you eventually kind of land in any sort of variation of thread the needle, you might just kind of reach through. You could even have the fingertips down. Maybe you're resting more fully onto that upper left arm. Anything that feels welcome to you. Notice what might be saying, could you make a change here? Or this would feel a little bit softer, or maybe where I'm finding ease with a breath. When you feel ready, depending on where you are, use a nice press through that right hand to maybe open back up. I like that counter twist if you want to join me. Right hand comes back down, tabletop pose. Go ahead and take a little rinse. If you want to take another opportunity on the belly here, feel free. If you'd like to head back to a child's pose, feel free. We're going to be doing a different transition to stand today for this next moment. So if you'd like to find a downward facing dog here, you can certainly do that. We're going to be moving through a different transition, but spend time in that shape if that would feel welcome, finding a lot of length and stretch in your body. Take a few more rounds, elevating these moments that I hope are just almost like a meditation, where there's not a lot of overthinking, little instinct and guide. And in your time, when you feel ready, we'll come back to tabletop pose. Just a little block or dumbbell setup. I'm going to set one block between my hands, and I'm going to set one of them off to the right side of my mat, kind of next to my right knee. We're going to start to set up to actually turn to face the right side of your space, so just as a heads up. But then from tabletop pose, let's take the right leg long behind, toes on the ground. Go ahead and move this front to back if that would feel nice to your calf or your foot. You could even pause with that energizing heel toward the floor. Sometimes we roll to different edges of the foot, just the tiniest bit of pressure on different sides. So kind of noticing what your foot, your ankle, what the needs are today in those hard working toes. And then we'll curl the toes under, shoulders over wrists. I'm going to center my left hand, mine's going on a block. Spin your left knee and your right foot opening to a side plank facing the right side of your room. Typically when I open, I have to bring my left hand closer. It's usually out at an angle, so maybe just noticing where that left hand is. Right arm reaches towards ceiling or sky, rotations. Maybe you look up to your right hand and then rotate right arm under left. So your head can turn with you here. It doesn't have to. And you might even find as you open that you're actually kind of going a little past the shoulder, right? This is kind of your range of motion of what feels best to the spine, the hips. Whenever you feel ready, let's meet back, side plank with the right arm maybe drawing toward right ear. So this long line of the body, right knee soft. Stay here. Maybe you float the right leg a little bit. Oop, outer thigh strength. Maybe you bend the knee. Maybe you want to hug the knee. I don't know. Maybe you want to just do a party and flag things all around. Oh, balance, strong, so good. When you're ready, right foot goes back down. We're going to rotate the torso to land the hands off the right side. Can you send your hips back, reach right arm forward and sweep around? I have my block there. Both hands off the right side, inner thigh stretch. Couple things. Left toes can curl under or be flat on the mat. Feel free to move this around, front to back, side to side. I do encourage you to maybe do a cow or cat just to kind of check in what's going on with the posture. It sometimes gets lost. If you're looking at your hands, can you lift your chin so it feels like the back of the head is in line with your spine? Look out in front of your hands. When you feel ready, let's pause, shoulders over wrists. Can you bring your right foot a little closer to your left knee and bend the right knee? And maybe shift your hips left and right a couple of times. Our destination is going to be actually a wide fold facing this way. So rooting down through that right foot, curl your left toes under. Can you lift up the left knee, step the foot out wide? You might have to kick your block. And here we are in a wide fold. Hey, take a few adjustments. Nice transition. So we're in this shape pretty early today. Maybe you want to keep your heart and chin really lifted. Maybe you want to take more of a ragdoll approach. So we typically would sometimes hit a ragdoll at the top of the mat. So you could approach the spine in that way here. Your weight could shift front to back, side to side. Give yourself a few more breaths here to feel some dialogue. Hamstrings, lower back, head, having a conversation. When you feel ready, let's press hands into block dumbbell or mat lift, heart lift, chin. Can you bend the knees and extend the legs without letting your spine change at all? So just another check of kind of hip range of motion here. Don't worry about how far you're going. The legs don't have to lengthen fully. And then let's bend the knees and take just a micro moment to shift again left and right. Just this little shift of your weight, spine so strong. We're going to rise through what's called bear. So just how we are, knees bent. Can you reach your arms behind you but not lose your posture? Lift, lift, lift strong with your back and then power through the feet. Rise up, lift up, stretch up. Exhale, hands to heart. I'm going to walk my feet a little closer and take just a wiggle of the hips. We'll set up now for warrior two. So your left foot is going to turn to face the front of your mat. Your right foot is going to kind of tuck in behind so the arch is lined up with your left heel. Don't be afraid to give yourself a lot of space here front to back. And we drop into warrior two with a suggestion of hands in your back pockets or a clasp behind your back. So the way we set this up, right, we came from facing the right side of the mat, so that's hopefully kind of where your orientation is. However, could you try to get that left knee to open more to the left pinky toe? That might turn your right hip slightly forward. That's okay. Can you see and wiggle your left big toe? Does it feel like both legs are working equally? It's so easy. That left leg is like, I'm bent, I'm going, dump in. No. Rise up and sit. Another big breath in, big breath out. Let's unwind the hands, lengthen the legs. Bring the right foot a little closer to the left, but keep your stance the same. So left foot forward, right foot turn. We're going to do a little play between triangle and reverse triangle. We'll do right-handed hip. Left arm is going to stretch straight out toward that left foot. Knees soft. Hinge out, reach out over that left foot. Come back, vertical spine. Left arm up, side bend. Come back to vertical. Reach your arm forward. Hinge out, reach out like you're going to head to triangle. Pull yourself back and take a reverse. And just see how this feels. There's a lot of hip stability here. My hope is it feels like a little oblique party. And notice again, if your knees want to lock, keep them buoyant. Next time you're reaching out toward triangle, let's go there. Hinge at the waist so your left fingertips point down, right fingers up. Can you float your hands though? Meaning don't touch your left leg. So pretty active here. Keep lifting up with your left ribs. Use your feet strong, but your knees stay light. Stretch your spine. Crown of head reaching away from your tailbone. Power through the feet to rise up, lift up, stand up. Exhale, hands to heart. Give the hips another little wiggle as you slowly turn your feet to face forward. So now we're going to hip neutral. Let that kind of start to land. You can plant your right foot flat or be up on the right toes. I'm going to offer a twist. You decide what you prefer out of the base here. Do you want to get low in the legs? Are you craving that strength? Do you want to feel actually more of a lift? Hands at heart. Find a twist to the left. And notice your breath right away. Sometimes that temptation is to twist with your shoulders. Can you twist from your torso, almost like you're kind of hugging in your ribs to bring your right side forward and your left side back? Full breath in, full breath out. Unwind back to face the front. Walk or step your right foot up next to your left foot. Give yourself a moment. I'm going to face you. We're going to do active eagle. We're going to revisit this shape twice, but this first go round is going to be active, meaning we're going to try not to touch anything to anything else. So let's root down into our left foot. I know. Pop up the right knee. I love this comparison, not in a way to judge ourselves, but going from active to passive. It's good information. Let's start to sit like you're coming into chair, but I hope your left leg feels more like this, the holding, the stable leg, right leg really light. Can you start to lift your right knee and start to maybe cross it over, but just hover. Arms go wide. Cross, left arm under right. Don't let them touch and keep reaching. And this is where we stay. So your left leg is working really hard. You can certainly go somewhere to touch, but notice this ability to keep everything kind of on its own, active range, keeping your ribs drawing in so your spine feels really neutral. So your spine is exactly how it would look if you were standing. Give this just another big breath in and a big breath out, and then unwind, land your right foot and give yourself a little sway. Nice job. Active range of motion. Could you feel that that was active? Was your heart saying, I'm actively working? And we're going to take a rinse so we can set up to actually repeat the sequence. So I'm going to bring one of my blocks to the front of my mat. So you are at the top front of your mat facing forward, and we'll make our way back down. Taking a breath up, reach up. Thoughtful hinge to bring you maybe to this halfway lift, right? Where knees are bent and spine is lifted and long. Maybe you pedal the legs. We call those elephant walks. That could feel lovely to your legs, your hips. Maybe you head to a rag doll. So even though we've already been standing, this is our first time in our kind of traditional top of the mat spaces. Take your time here. As you feel ready, we head to tabletop with that suggestion that you bend the knees kind of as much as feels right. Get as close as you can to the ground, and then we guide our limbs back one at a time to make your way to the middle of the mat in tabletop pose, and then complete your flow. What is it here that you could use? Are you craving a return to the belly? Are you craving kind of any of those shoulder movements? Maybe your body wants to do some more scorpions or hip openers. You can make your way to a child's pose, or maybe you enjoy sitting back on the feet. And again, given the way we're going to first come up to stand, you could certainly find a downward facing dog here, since we'll still be preserving that officially for a bit later in practice. But take your time to let things rinse and realign. You might notice as we take these moments here how much when we're one-sided, our spine and back really help us. And so this is where things get put back. When you're ready, we're back to tabletop pose, no rush. With a little reminder about props as we first get started. I'm going to have one between my hands and one off to the left side. My hope is that sequence was long enough that you're kind of saying, I don't know if I remember what we did. Excellent. I gotcha. That is such a win. If you're all like, I don't know, that means I'm doing my role. When you're ready from tabletop, left leg goes long, toes on the ground. Give yourself some time to move that front to back. One of the challenges sometimes in life and in yoga is not anticipating. So if you have total yoga amnesia, great. Maybe roll to different edges of your foot, taking that time to just kind of feel and notice. And then as you're ready, we set up to turn to start to face the left and supported side plank. So left toes curled under, right hand will center, maybe on your block or dumbbell. Right knee turns, left foot plants, and we open to face the left side. I'm going to turn to face you. So checking again, that right hand, I usually have to move it directly under my shoulder. It doesn't always get there when I make the turn. And then offer with left arm up. Maybe you look up toward your left hand and then we start sweeping left arm under right. And this rotation, sometimes I like to do just a little bit more of upper body only. Sometimes I really like that turn of the hips. And that is not offered to make you overthink, but to just kind of be willing to respond to what does feel best on this side. Whenever you're ready, we'll meet with the left arm back up briefly to then maybe stretch left arm toward the ear. You can stay in this really lovely side body stretch, kind of rooting through the outer edge of left foot. Maybe you float the left leg for a little outer hip strength, or you might bend the knee, a little balance. Any of this kind of off of the ground leg things. Can you use your right arm less to hold you? Yeah, and then eventually left leg goes back long. Let's take left arm back up toward the ear, and then we're going to take that really thoughtful rotation. So hips go back as left arm sweeps around, then right arm, so your hands will land off the long edge of your mat. I'm going to use my block. Feel free to grab something there. And then moving around in this position, front to back, you can curl the right toes under. Again, I do recommend that maybe you cow and cat just at some point along the way. With some of those transitions, our posture can get lost. And if you're looking at your hands, lift your chin. And then when you're ready, shoulders over wrist, just a little bend of the left knee so you can flatten the left foot with kind of more of a bend. And maybe you take a couple of little shifts side to side. This is going to become our prep for standing in a wide fold. Rooting down through left foot, curl right toes under, push off of that right knee, step the right foot wide, make adjustments, wide fold, second pass. Maybe your feet come closer. So you have had kind of moments here to create some space. So you might bring the feet closer if you're craving more space. Maybe your body really loves those really wide feet. Create room for your back. Again, you could go ragdoll. You could grab for the ankles. Sometimes if that kind of ragdoll approach feels lovely, you can walk your hands almost through the legs or grab for opposite elbows. All of the maybes and ors, they're just ideas with nothing better than something else. When you're ready, slight variation in how we're going to stand. Let's press under chest and shoulders, lift heart, lift chin. Bend the knees again a little bit. You could take a little time again to sway this side to side or bend and extend. Just these little ways that get into the hips kind of more sneakily. But this time we'll go from hips open. So when we're kind of bent knees here, let's turn the toes out, heels in, sit lower, rise up. Option for revolved goddess. Hands on thighs, thumbs inside. Where you do the kind of those little shoulder drops. If there's something else that feels better for you here, maybe you want to have hands at heart and kind of shift around. Maybe you want to get out of the legs and you're standing up sooner than later to a 5-point star. Let's eventually meet there if you're not. So center your spine, drive up through the feet, that big stretch up. This shape is so interesting to hold in. Can it feel spacious, but also like really soft, where your shoulders are kind of melting away from your ears, your jaw is soft, your knees feel light. And then hands to heart. Let's bring the feet a little closer, just kind of give those hips a little wiggle. We've had some stability work in here, and we'll set up for our warrior two. So your right foot is going to turn back to face the front of your mat. Left heel tucks behind. Give yourself again space, or left arch, I'm sorry. We drop into warrior two with that similar suggestion of hands in back pockets or a clasp. This offer of upper body is kind of a nice reminder to really drop the shoulders, and you got all the choices, right? The arm variations are yours. Both feet equally strong. If this is your 300th warrior two, what makes this moment really interesting for your brain? Where can you draw some attention? Maybe you're paying attention to your right foot. Maybe you're using your left foot stronger. Take another big breath in. Big breath out. And then we'll lengthen the legs. Hands come around. Offer is to just, again, creep the left foot a little closer. I find for triangle work, I don't need quite as big of a stance, but it's how it feels best for you. Left-handed hip. Right arm will reach out from the shoulder. Let's hinge out. Kind of lift your left hip, reach, draw back, right arm up to a side bend. So it's almost like triangle prep to reverse triangle. And feeling your side body really engage. These are those moments where we're getting just the most subtle, maybe it's not so subtle, spine work, core work, and let's head toward triangle. So you reach out, you hold left hip up. And then let's rotate enough to have left fingertips up, right down, maybe not touching at all on the legs. So you're stretching floor to ceiling. You're also stretching front of mat to back of mat with your spine. What would make this feel softer to your knees and your hips? Use your feet, breath. When you're ready, power through the feet, rise up, lift up, stretch up, hands come down. Again, I'm going to walk the left foot a little closer, and I'm almost going to kind of shake and move through the hips as we turn to set up a neutral hip, high crescent or warrior one. So you can be on the back toes. If you feel wobbly side to side, it's usually a reminder to widen your feet left and right. And again, you decide, do you want to be low in the legs? Do you want to be lifted? The offer is a twist, hands at heart, gently twist to the right. Great breath right away. I can tell sometimes the minute I twist, I just notice my breath is like, and it kind of gets caught. A reminder to feel where breath is getting stuck and why. Are you forcing yourself to twist by trying to throw the shoulders? Let the twist happen with your breath as a partner. Take another full breath in where you are. See if you can stay for the breath out. Then unwind, face forward, walk or step. Left foot up next to right. Take a pause. We set up for active eagle. I'm going to face you. More weight in right foot. Left heel lifts. Start to sit kind of chair-like with that supportive right leg. Know that the depth of the sitting does not matter. See if you can start to lift your left knee. Pretend you're going to cross it over, let it hover. Doesn't again matter where it goes. Arms go wide. Right arm crosses under left and we stay. So the arms are pretty straight. Nothing is touching anything else. Breath. Feeling the parts of your body actively working. Not only for hip range of motion, shoulder stretch, obviously balance, but we're not forcing ourselves into a pose and going beyond where our body could go naturally. Take another breath in. And a breath out, and we unwind. Left foot next to right. Maybe a gentle sway of your body side to side. And we will take a quick rinse as we've done. So I'm going to meet you back at the top of the mat. Maybe a block or dumbbell will greet you. We go down, or we go, down. Up, then down. Top of the mat. Take a big breath up. And your hinge to spend time again here in any sort of half lift or ragdoll. Your body might say, I've been kind of hinged over a few times. I'm ready for tabletop. Spend as much time as you want here. Thoughtful transition to tabletop. I've been trying to step back with the opposite limb. I tend to always step back with the same limb. So we're working the brain a little bit. And once you're in tabletop pose, again, complete your flow for this moment. And that can simply mean a little movement in tabletop and straight to child's pose. If you're craving more than that, and always that interesting kind of checking in of what is doing the craving. Is your brain somehow determining what you need? Or can your brain actually follow the gut instinct of your body? Taking time to pause, recognizing that sometimes that pause, especially after all the things and so much strength really in our standing work, we come to land and take that breath. You might feel as though your brain is resetting too. Have there been any stories today? Any narratives, any chatter? Let it go with an exhale. When you're ready, we're back to tabletop pose. We are going to head to stand one more time for our passive, though still quite effective, eagle pose. So when you're ready, maybe this is a downward facing dog transition where you lift up, drive up through the hips, find that breath or two in down dog, or stay longer, or skip it entirely. We're going to head to the top of the mat when you're ready. A walk where you're looking where you're going. Maybe a block or dumbbell is greeting you for another brief moment here at the top of the mat. And then you stand in the way that works for you. It might be a roll up head last. It might be more of a reverse swan dive, growing through the feet. Your first time rising in this way, all of practice. When you make your way vertical, take a moment to maybe even just close your eyes, feel your feet, acknowledge, even at this point of practice, your presence here. And then I'm going to face you. We'll set up for our active eagle pose. However, I will still suggest that maybe there's a block or a dumbbell next to your left foot. So though this will be active, you can certainly have support for your toes with the balance aspect. A little more weight in left foot. Pop up right heel. Start to sit. We build it the same, but we're going to kind of go for the landing this time. So we'll lift up right knee, start to cross your hip over, and then land leg on leg. You might touch your right toes to that support. Open the arms wide. Sweep left arm under right. You can land hands on your shoulders, or they could form kind of eagle arms with back of forearms coming together. So notice you did this actively before, so you don't have to somehow collapse in and push beyond where you could go range of motion wise. But now we use those connections of the body on itself to just kind of squeeze in a little bit more. Draw your low ribs in. This becomes such a detoxifying shape. We literally are just rinsing toxins out of the body here. So give yourself space to fully breathe. If the breath is stuck, take that as information. When you are ready, we unwind. Maybe it's an unwind with a stretch up and a reach up. Suggestion, can you come to mountain pose? Arms by your sides, palms forward, maybe your eyes close. I find this to be incredibly challenging to come out of eagle to try to be still. You might feel your heart beating. You might feel your breath having caught a bit. Soften your knees. And you just feel that pose being absorbed. Take another breath in and a breath out. Eyes open if they were closed. Hands at heart. We'll set up for second side. So if you want to take any prop that you may have had and shift it next to your right foot, building just as thoughtfully, weight in right foot, lifting up left heel, start to feel that sit. Start to lift up left knee to cross. Again, there's not a certain place you have to get to. We're just going to try to find that connection, leg on leg. Left toes can have support. Open arms wide. Sweep right arm under left. Hands on shoulders or eagle arms. I find one of the most challenging things here is really feeling like my spine looks like if it would look if I were standing. So I'm not arching, right? We're not trying to expand the ribs. There's a little tuck of low ribs in. Sit as low as you like. Float the left toes or have them rested. Feel that connection now. Arm on arm, leg on leg. Almost like low ribs in toward inner organs to breathe and massage and rinse. And when you feel ready, we unwind. Take a rise up, reach up, hands to heart. Feel free to take another moment in mountain, especially if that feels like the thing you most don't want to do. Because that could be a sign. Just give it a try. And then as you're ready, eyes open. If you do want to take a little gentle sway or a little march or a little wiggle, and we will make our way down one more time. So as you're ready from the top of your mat, maybe both blocks or dumbbells by the way near the top of your mat. So I'm going to offer just a use of your blocks as we come to take a final pose. Take a big breath up. Thoughtful hinge. You're making your way back down to tabletop in your time. Spend time at the top of your mat. Spend time wiggling or folding or ragdolling, making your way to tabletop as you feel ready. For your final flow, whatever that means for you here, which can certainly mean going straight to a pose of rest. If you're interested, you could use your hands on your blocks to find an arm elevated puppy pose or child's pose. You could also use your blocks with your elbows or forearms to find a child's pose where you actually press the hands together and let your elbows bend, thumbs toward the back of your head or neck. Just suggestions to find maybe a little bit more space in your upper bodies. We've done quite a bit for the shoulders. Anything else that you're needing here, of course, as always, those are just ideas in the midst of all those possibilities. Take 2 to 3 more breaths wherever you are. Let your brain kind of hook to counting for just a moment. And when you are ready, your slow unwind to eventually come back to tabletop pose. I'd like to just offer a little bit of love for the lower back, either from the belly or tabletop. So if you're okay heading to the belly, make your way there in your way, your time. And if you'd like to, when you get there, we'll bend the knees and maybe sway the legs like windshield wipers. And if you're staying in tabletop, is your preference today, I'll meet you back up there in a moment. Your option in tabletop will actually be a bird dog lift. If you're here on the belly, legs go long, arms by your sides, palms face the ground with your pinkies closer to your thighs. Soften your body. Exhale everything out. Inhale, lift legs, arms. Yes, you're lifting the head, but can you think about that? Lift the back of your head up, not necessarily your chin. If you're in tabletop bird dog, you choose the opposing limbs, but maybe there's more of a lift of both limbs. So it feels a little cow-like, strengthening your back. Find your breath. Can you stay for just 2 or 3 more breaths where you might get just a little spicy in that hovering? If you're on the belly, lower down, maybe you come back to bend the knees. Gently sway, let your belly soften. So moving really carefully with the legs, but see if you can literally let go. If you were in your bird dog option, you might rock your hips a little side to side, kind of knocking one hip off to the left and then the right. We're going to literally take a second pass. If you're in your bird dog option, you're going to switch limbs. If you're setting up for locust, round 2, arms again by your sides, or you could clasp them behind your back if that feels available and interesting to you. Exhale everything out. Inhale, lift. Build strength, right? This is intentionally strong in your lower back, in the backs of your ribs. So feel those muscles engage. A little bit of glute action. Again, notice if your chin is kind of arching funny, tuck the chin and lift the back of your head up. Take another breath in. Stay for the breath out. Lower as you feel ready. Again, you can stay on the belly and sway whenever you're ready to come off of the ground. Feel free. When you are ready, if you've been on the belly, to come up, legs go long. Take that really thoughtful lift. We did a lot for the back there, so use strength to come off of the ground. I typically prefer to just kind of move a little bit in tabletop and then come to sit, but you could find a sit on the feet again. You could find a child's pose or puppy pose. Just be super aware of how that's feeling to your back. Eventually, let's all meet sitting with your feet back toward the front of your mat. So if you recall, when we started, we did kind of active happy baby. We're going to revisit that and then make it the more passive, kind of bigger stretch. And we'll take a twist. There's nothing you need in terms of props or suggestions for that, but if you know you like to have something, go ahead and grab it. And we'll head to our back as you're ready. Holding backs of legs, determining how active this is, but there's a little bit of energy, right? So we don't just kind of collapse and flop down, but finding that connection back. Back of head softening toward the ground. Feeling the backs of your hips soften. You can elongate the legs here, feeling a full body stretch. Your knees might stay bent. As we did at the beginning of class, this kind of familiar place where you might start to feel how your body responds. Oh, yep, there's the ground again. There's the mat, there's the full support. What can you shed and let go of here, even just at this point, after all the things that we explored and moved through? As you feel ready, we'll come into active happy baby to start. Arms by your sides. Lift both legs up toward the ceiling or sky just briefly. And then we'll again separate the feet slightly, flex the feet, heels up, and start to bend the knees like they're coming wider and closer to the ground, but press your tailbone firmly down at the same time. So this is your active range of motion. Right? Hips are feeling open, but you're getting here by your own body's movement. You could still sway a little bit here. I typically hold this one still just so I can feel and notice those places. And then I like to actually soften my feet and help my knees come closer together. I like turning off the hips almost first. Take a moment here with the knees lifted. And then you can set the feet back down first, or we surrender to a twist to the left. So allowing your lower body to roll to the left side. You could let the knees be stacked. Sometimes I like to hold my right knee with my left hand to create a little gap between the knees. Maybe you want to extend your right leg out. You might even slightly kind of roll to drop your right ear toward the floor. We talk about how there's not a place you have to land. Your right shoulder does not have to be on the ground, especially because we let the legs kind of lower and land first. Take a big breath in, surrendering breath out. And then let's rebend the right leg if it went straight. Use a little core strength, a little maybe push of your arms to come back to the center. Or maybe you let the feet come back down for a few breaths. Maybe again, a full body stretch would feel like a really great kind of rinse and reset here in between. And then we'll set up for passive happy baby. I know it seems a little counterintuitive, but passive means we're going to kind of add enhancements. We'll use the arms. So when you're ready, legs go up. Still recommending that you widen the feet slightly, flex, and then hands will come to backs of thighs as you start to kind of energetically draw down. Just kind of paying attention to where you kind of got before when it was your own active range of motion. We don't necessarily want to go way beyond that. You can grab shins or ankles, maybe bottoms of feet. I know I can't reach my feet without my tailbone lifting. So wherever your hands are, ensuring that your tailbone is still connected to the ground. Maybe you rock and sway here. And I find, for whatever reason with this pose, I start to get all serious in my brain. So I like to smile because it is called Happy Baby. And smiling to me is a reminder that I sometimes take things way too seriously, off the mat and on. Let it just be as you feel ready. Suggestion again is maybe you turn off the hips first. So helping your knees come close. Pausing with legs lifted or feet come down to eventually surrender and twist to the right. And I hope with a twist that you really don't need a lot of insight from me, just reminders that nothing has to be forced. Your left shoulder does not have to be on the ground. But other than that, I kind of hope that you just feel and know where your body wants to be in this twist. There's so many little subtle shifts, right, of what your left leg could do, if you're dropping your left ear toward the mat or not. No need to overthink. Take another breath in. Stay for your complete breath out. Making sure you're looking back at the ceiling or the sky. A little arm strength, a little core strength will bring you back. Letting your feet start to land and noticing what else you could use. If there's just another little pose or a shift or a stretch, a repositioning that helps you feel like your physical practice has been fully completed, and allowing yourself to kind of land in that space where rest feels most available. You might have to try things on today. You might have a preferred sort of default as to what feels like the restful spot for your body. Just remembering that Shavasana is not a particular pose or shape. It's something that feels most available. There's not a lot of feedback or resistance. And even taking that moment to recognize that sometimes this is where the challenge is. It's not triangle. It's not warrior two. It's overcoming any thought that somehow choosing rest is unproductive. There's a richness here to your choice to choose to land in stillness. Giving you that space, that time, your breath. I will go off camera ever so briefly. I will bring you back after just a few more quiet moments. There's a gentle invitation to come back to observe, perhaps even imagining looking down upon yourself in this moment, seeing yourself having taken time to rest, capturing that observation with a sense of gratitude, and thanking yourself for taking that risk to choose stillness. And as always, this time that we preserve to be able to thoughtfully shift from this practice, this moment of your day, into whatever may be next, hopefully without a sense of urgency, deciding what that means for your body. You can stay right where you are, of course, to close this practice, and you can certainly find movement exploration that might be bringing you back. Know that I'm here seated on my mat, eyes closed. You're always welcome to join me upright if that works for you. Maybe keeping your eyes closed as well as you find just, even if it's an imagery thing of lengthening your spine, softening your jaw, bringing hands over your heart, noticing, capturing for just this added moment. If there's a feeling or a thought or a little nugget that just landed with you today, maybe holding that literally over your heart space as you breathe in and breathe out. I'm so grateful to all of you. Thank you for just including me in your days, for inviting me in to guide you through practice. Would not be here without you. Wishing you so much peace and ease and love and light. And as always, I acknowledge there is love and light in me that sees, honors, and bows to the love and light in each and every one of you. Namaste. Thanks, everyone. Thanks for celebrating.